Good evening. I call this meeting in the Magnolia Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551. So if everybody would please stand, Ms. McDonald is going to lead us in our invocation.
It's long been a tradition for us to start our meetings with a prayer, so if you choose to bow your heads and pray with me, please do. Father, thank you so much for this great day that you've given us. Thank you so much for the privilege of living in such an amazing community, of such loving people. And Father, thank you for every parent and student and every family represented in this room tonight. We just pray that you guide us to make the right decisions. And it's just on my heart to say that any private struggles that anyone in the room that you know about is dealing with, just bless them through that and just know that they're supported. We pray all of these things through the name of your Son, Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So we'll say our pledges now. If Esteban and Jensen could come up here. And you're going to do the U.S. flag, right? And then we'll do the Texas flag right after that. Y'all both come up here and help us out. Just right there, and then look right over here and lead us off.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Now, Esteban, you can stay up here for a minute or two, okay? Just hang out right here.
I would like to present everyone Esteban Burgos, who is here with his family. We have Mom Karin, Sister Karin, Dad Esteban, and his two teachers, his math teacher, Miss Martin, and his ELA teacher, Miss Kanak. And so a little bit about Esteban. Esteban started at Williams Elementary in the bilingual pre-K program. You can see he's representing his mom's country. His mom's from Spain, his dad's from Paraguay, and he's representing today. He's also a big soccer fan, which we'll talk about in just a minute. He started off in bilingual pre-K, and he is currently a fourth grade REACH student. And clearly, he's an outstanding student. His teacher said he always gives 100%. He loves learning. He loves math. But we have a lot of great students, a lot of great academic students at Williams. But what sets Esteban apart is that his teachers have pointed out that it's his character. He has outstanding character. He is a great friend to all the students in the class. And his teachers even said that sometimes when there's a student in the class who maybe doesn't make friends so easily, Esteban is that student who always makes an effort to go sit with that friend or get to know them. They said that he doesn't judge people by their cover. He takes time to get to know them, which is a pretty outstanding character for somebody who's only 10 years old. He's also a great citizen, and I want to say that I've been in administration for many years, and I've been at Williams for 2 years. Esteban is the only student that I have ever received a phone call from a bus driver to tell me what an outstanding citizen he is. They said, in addition to just always being, well-behaved and a great kid, that about a month ago, Esteban, you remember what I'm talking about? Okay. Esteban found a wallet. He sits in the back of the bus. On the elementary buses, the older kids sit in the back and the younger kids sit up front. And Esteban was in the very back of the bus, and he found a high school student's wallet that had a significant amount of money in it. He didn't even think twice. He immediately turned it into the bus driver. Not one thing was taken out of it. It got back to the student. But in addition to just that, Esteban didn't come into school bragging about what he had done. He never said a word to me, he never said a word to his teachers. We didn't even know that he had done this. Once I got the phone call from the bus driver and we went and talked to him about it, he was just kind of like, kind of just looked at us like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. So kudos to Mom and Dad for raising such an honest young man with great character. So in his spare time, Esteban, of course, he likes to play video games. He's 10. But if you couldn't guess, he's also a soccer player, and he's an outstanding soccer player. He currently plays with Texas Premier, and he is playing, currently he's playing left back. And even though he's only 10, he plays with the 12-year-olds because he is, he would never tell you this, but he is too good to play with the 10-year-olds because he's that skilled. So, which leads us to what he wants to do when he gets older. His dream would be to be a professional soccer player. He hopes to go play in high school, then play in college, and become a professional soccer player. But he has a backup plan, and his backup plan is to be a doctor. So he knows that he's going to go to school. He's going to continue playing soccer all through school. But backup plan, he's got it ready. And I know that he'll achieve whatever he sets his mind to. So we know that we are very lucky to have Esteban. We know he's going to go on to do many great things. His character just amazes us every day. His teachers, everyone who interacts with Esteban, that's what they say. He's such a great kid. He's very well-rounded. So if you don't mind joining me, just giving Esteban a round of applause for being a great kid in Magnolia ISD.
Magnolia High School's April Student of the Month is senior Jensen Altum. Jensen has attended Magnolia ISD school since first grade at Ellisor Elementary School. She also attended Bear Branch 6th grade, Bear Branch Junior High, before joining us at Mag High as a freshman 4 years ago. Jensen is joined tonight by her father, Daniel Altum, her FFA teachers, Bethany Goodman, Leighton Jones, and her calculus teacher, Annette Bob, and Mr. Gossip, myself. Jensen continuously challenges herself by taking advantage of a variety of opportunities in the classroom, where she has been extremely successful in pushing herself as well as her classmates. While taking multiple IB and AP classes, she has earned the final rank of number 13 in her senior class of 476 students. In addition to that stellar rank, Jensen has been recognized as an AP Scholar with Distinction and a Rural/Small Town National Merit Scholar. In her spare time, Jensen is involved in a number of activities outside the classroom, including FFA, where she is currently the vice president and competed on the Ags Issues LDE team, the Ags Com CDE, and the Ag Tech SDE, where she continues to talk about her passion of gene editing. She is a member of the National Honor Society, serves as the president of Mu Alpha Theta, and this week she will be concluding her reign on the Montgomery County Fair Association's Queen Court that she has been a part of for the past year. I'd like to read you some of the nominations. The first is from one of our FFA sponsors, Ms. Goodman. Jensen is the vice president of the Magnolia FFA, and she is an exceptional leader. Her leadership is beyond the position she holds. She served as a member of the Ag Issues team, where she presented to many influential members of the agriculture industry, such as the Department of Agriculture. As a senior on the team, she led her members to success and encouraged each of them to be the best they can be. She also participates in other speaking events where she has experienced success at the state levels. She excels in everything she participates in, which is a direct result of her dedication and hard work. She also serves as the MCFA as a leader and had the opportunity to serve our community and county. Lastly, she has always maintained stellar grades, which has allowed her to stay within the top 15 in her class. It's an honor to nominate her as Student of the Month. Additionally, from Ms. Bopp, her calculus teacher, when working with Jensen, you quickly realize that she brings a wonderful positive energy with her, which can be contagious. She is in my AP Calculus BC class and faces the challenge with an I can do attitude. Jensen is also president of Mu Alpha Theta, and she is more than willing to help me in any way she can. I feel very blessed to have had the opportunity to work with such a wonderful young lady. After graduating from Magnolia High School, Jensen will attend Texas A&M University, where she will major in some type of engineering. Her dream job involves being in a lab, experimenting, and doing research. We are so proud of Jensen and all she has accomplished thus far, and we know that there are great things in store for her in the future. Please help me in congratulating Magnolia High School's April Student of the Month, Jensen Alton.
Such a fun part of the evening because not only do we get to hear about the intellect and the athletes, but we get to have a glimpse into their heart, and that's really cool. Jensen, Esteban, that's yours. Jensen, that's yours. Congratulations to you guys. You should know that we do this once a month for 9 months, so do the math, and we got 13,000 students in the district, so you're in thin air. And we look forward to hearing from what you're doing, and we're going to see you again, I'm sure. You're not going to be a stranger around here, right? And Devon has got something for you. Good job, guys.
He's ready there. He's ready.
He's ready to join us here. All right, Coach.
Dr. Stevens, school board members, thank you for this opportunity to be able to recognize a Magnolia ISD athletic group tonight. So at this time, it's my honor to be able to present or recognize the Magnolia West state qualifiers, the swimming and diving team. So Coach Nelson, if you and your crew can make your way up to the front, I want to say a few words about those guys as they make their way up here. First of all, as they make their way up here, what an accomplishment it is to be able to make it to the state qualifier and state championship. Regardless of what sport or whatever your endeavors are, is accomplishment in the fact that they made it there. And so we're extremely proud of you guys. To be great at something, it takes a lot of hard work and practice. I can promise you many, many, many hours of hard work and practice have gone into these individuals standing up here in front of you today. Some of them just got out of the water minutes before arriving here. Some are fixing to go. Okay, Miss Matoka Grace is fixing to go to practice this evening. And so the dedication that and commitment they put into their sport and their craft is unbelievable. I can tell you this for a fact, that the natatorium in Magnolia ISD and Magnolia, Texas is probably the busiest place in town. You can drive by at 5:30 in the morning, and we got kids swimming, and you can drive by about 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, and we still have young men and women of all age groups training and dedicating their time to perfect their sport and be able to compete not only for the MAC program, but for Magnolia ISD. So, I just want to be able to recognize you guys and your hard work and commitment and how you've represented not only yourselves, but Magnolia West High School and Magnolia ISD. And so at this time, I'm going to bring up Coach Nelson, who's our head swim and diving coach for Magnolia West High School. Coach Nelson has done a tremendous job of developing these athletes here tonight, and we look forward to the work that he continues to do with our program here in Magnolia ISD. And so, Coach Nelson, these guys got some practice stuff to do to keep on working and getting better, and so I'm going to turn the mic over to you.
Howdy. My name is Kenneth Nelson. I've been with Magnolia West for about a year and a half. It's my second year. And before I start on each individual, I just wanted to tell Thank you, Dr. Stevens, the board, Dr. King, Coach Berna, thank you for being here, and thank you for the public recognition of these aquatic athletes. Few people are familiar with the commitment required of swimmers and divers. In addition to maintaining academic eligibility and excellence, they spend long months training, land and water, developing incredible endurance, performing huge numbers of repetitions in the water and out of the water. They hone required skills, being aware of performances of competitors, maintaining consistent mental and physical efforts to enhance performance, and much more. All to achieve success in competition measured in swimming in hundredths of a second. These are special athletes who earned an opportunity to compete with the best in Texas. Whatever they choose to do, imagine the success they will have. They join the workforce, bring the core values and skills they developed in Magnolia ISD. Thank you for providing for them and their teammates the opportunity to develop into such fine young students and in the future citizens as they get into the workforce. That being said, we'll start with these awesome kids. First, since she's the lady, I will talk about Grace. Grace is our diver. She's broke her own records twice this year, has made first all-team district, regional, and state by placing 4th in state. This is the one that has, this is the one who has practice after this. Okay, so she still has an evening in front of her. She also is an all-academic American with a 4.0 average. Actually, if you can go higher than that, I think it could be higher. And also, she has earned a scholarship diving for Ohio University. And so I'd like to present that. Congratulations to you. Next is another senior, Tristan Richard. Went to state in an individual for the 200 IM. He finished 4th in the state swim meet and also made All-State. He broke 2 school records, 2 of which he broke twice. I'm sorry, 1 of which he broke twice, the 200 IM. He also broke the 100 free record as well. These were set, and he smashed them. He's a senior. He will be attending Ouachita Baptist University on a scholarship for swimming as well. So congratulations to you, brother. Our next individual that went to the state meet is a sophomore by the name of Jacob Rakovich. He went in the 100 free and made second team All-State as a sophomore. Big deal. He also broke the school record as a sophomore in the 50 freestyle. So I would like to tell you congratulations on that one there too, buddy. So. And then also the group, they were able to make it to the state meet in 2 relays. Sorry, my one blank. In 2 relays, the 400 free relay and the 200 free relay. The names Tristan Richard, Jonathan Rakovich, Justin Flores, Jacob Rakovich, Santiago Redea. They all made the state meet in the 200 free relay, the 400 free relay, and making second team All-American in the 400 free relay. So congratulations to you guys. And lastly, what I would like to say is Santi. Santi is also a senior. He is going to Texas A&M, and again, if there could be a grade point average higher than a 4.0, I think there would be that. He's done a really good job. He was the backup for the relay in case something happened to one of the boys. And when he found out about that, he came to every practice that we had starting at 5:45 in the morning. And it's just very proud of you. And seniors, I'm sad to see you guys go, but yeah, it's been a blessing. And I wish you all the best. Thank you all very much.
Got some good athletes up here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I guess, Coach Burner, maybe a shout out to our AD and maybe a little bit to Coach Jones, but do you think it may have had a little bearing on the success that some of these kids had, that we found a way to get that natatorium opened up this past summer so y'all could start working out a little bit during that time? It was pretty difficult. When I heard about all the protocols you had to go through to get in there to work out, but it has paid off. So anyway, we're so thankful that you guys made a path and a way to get these kids in there so they get in the water, and we know that all the successes that they had in the water are going to have a lot of bearing down the road for these kids. And I just hope we get to keep up with all the great things they're able to do. But we're so proud of y'all tonight. Coach Nelson, you too.
All right, Dr. Garza, you're next.
Well, good evening. It is my pleasure to once again present the Magnolia ISD Teacher of the Month for the month of April. And tonight we have pretty much a legend from Magnolia High School. This is Miss Annette Bopp. She's taught calculus at Magnolia High School for 19 years, and this is her 32nd year in education. And from what I read, she's covered both coasts in her educational career. And much to the dismay of numerous students and administrators, and Susie Johnson, of course, she is retiring at the end of this year, so we will be without her services, but she has impacted many a student at MHS, many engineer probably in the field, and done a great job for us. I'm going to read a couple of quotes here from some of the administrators at MHS. Ms. Bopp has been the epitome of exceptional leadership on campus. She's been a mentor to countless young math teachers at MHS in ensuring that all students receive a high level of rigorous instruction. She has instruction down to an art form. There's more. She has been a shining beacon of positivity, especially this year, and she exemplifies what it means to love, serve, and care. So, Ms. Bopp, we thank you so much for your service to us. Mr. Gossett?
Thank you, Dr. Garza. My name is Joshua Gossett. I am the administrator at Magnolia High School that is had the benefit of coming on and being a new administrator with Ms. Bopp being the department chair that I get to work with. And there's a lot I could stand up here and say about Ms. Bopp. Watching her teach is something truly amazing. Walking into her room and see her kids engaged in mathematics, most of which I struggle to understand myself, is really, really inspiring. But two things that really stand out to me, or the thing that stands out to me most about Ms. Bopp, is her dedication. And I do not know that there has been a day I've been in the building that I haven't walked by her room before school, during Bulldog Block, or after school, that there aren't multiple students in there learning. And they're not in there to score well on a test or anything like that. They're there because Ms. Bopp has infected them with her love of mathematics. So it's really, really a great thing to watch. Also, I'm known as a little bit of a late worker, and there's many nights or evenings where I'm walking out to my truck and I'll have to call Ms. Bopp on the cell phone and say, go home, because she'll still be there working. I'm sure she had to leave work tonight to be here with all of us. So it has been truly a blessing to work with Ms. Bopp. We are thankful for her service. I will miss her. I know all of the students and faculty at Magnolia ISD and Magnolia High School will miss her, and I'm truly thankful for her. Great job, Ms. Bopp.
Thank you, Mr. Gossett. Mr. Gossett?
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gossett. Mr. Gossett? Thank you, Mr. Gossett. 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 Thank you, Mr. Gossett.
And good evening. I'm Susie Johnson. I'm the Director of Mathematics, and I thought it would be appropriate tonight in this venue, since Miss Bopp has been with me for the past 14 years, and we know she's an amazing, passionate, dedicated, outstanding educator, that we thank you for advocating for mathematics in Magnolia ISD for all these years. And I have to thank you for advocating for your department and your teachers. I wish Mr. Quinn could be here tonight to tell some of the stories of you advocating for your teachers. And also, most importantly, thank you for advocating for the success of our students. It's shown obviously through your stellar scores, we know that, but the endless amount of emails, love notes, Twitter shout-outs from all your students, and I know Jensen, you'll probably be one of them too, thanking you for everything you've done for them. Annette, there'll never be another Annette Bopp, and you have to know that. The halls of MHS will never be the same. My life will never be the same. It's the truth, it's the truth. I will miss all of our 6:15 a.m. meetings, okay? That will never, ever end. But thank you so very much for everything you've done in Magnolia ISD. And for all of our families, all of our children, it's not replaceable. There's not enough words of gratitude. So thank you also for being the teacher of April and representing all the teachers in Magnolia ISD. We do have a short video as we sit here and cry for a little bit.
Passionate about what I teach, and to be able to share that with students and help them grow and help them reach potential goals for college is just so empowering to me. It's exciting to see them when they have those aha moments, or when I can't do this, and I get them over that hump, because calculus sometimes it's the first time they've had trouble and haven't gotten that easy A. And so to help them learn how to study and get to the next level is so exciting to see. I love on them. I mean, they're my kids. And that's what I tell them from day one. You're now my students, you're my kids, and I want you to succeed. What I see changing is what's happening around us that is making things a little more hard, more difficult for us in the profession, because there's more things we need to be aware of and help students through. It's not just teaching them the subject, it's dealing with some other outside issues. What we do is just so important to our students' lives and their future. And don't give up on them, keep pushing them. Expectations are big, and they'll work for it if they buy into what you're doing, if they know you care and you're willing to work with them. I've been teaching for 32 plus years in 4 states. I just feel blessed to be teaching here at MHS for the last 19 years and finding my home here in MISD. So that's my reward for what I do, along with seeing my students succeed. So this is such an honor that it's just overwhelming to me.
Well, I speak for the whole MEF board. Here's Stacia, my name's Dasha, I serve as president, and Gary, and we just appreciate when I hear words from Ms. Johnson and team, and it makes what we do for MEF, it makes it why we do it. So we appreciate you so much, and we would like to proudly present the certificate to you, Annette Bopp. Thank you for being amazing.
Ms. Bopp, in case you haven't noticed it, there's a lot of folks that appreciate what you've done for our students for a long, long time here in Magnolia ISD. You're a truly outstanding, gifted teacher, and you've made a difference in so many kids, and not only in their lives academically, but just in their lives of being good students here in this district is what we want to accomplish here. And so thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for a career spent in education, making a difference in those lives. And we're going to miss you in a way. We thought about naming that hall up there the Bopp Hall, but I don't know. I think maybe, you know, hey, we truly love you and appreciate all the things you've done. And it's great that we have a chance to recognize you this month for all of our teachers as our Teacher of the Month. We're proud of you.
I tell you, Ms. Bopp, I've got a couple of kids myself that are excelling beyond high school largely because of you, and I appreciate that so much. And I got to tell you, you're world class. Just thank you for all you've done. Thank
Ms.
you.
Bopp, I've got to add to that. I have a daughter who made it through engineering calculus because of you, and she is literally going on to be a teacher because of you. And you have no idea, perhaps you do, but you have touched our family, and I know so many families, so dramatically and so wonderfully, and we've been so blessed to have you, and we're so happy for you for what you're going to do, but we are so sorry to see you leave. You are the... I am all in favor of naming it the Bopp Hallway because it will never be the same without you, truly. Thank you for everything that you and your family have done for this district and most of all for all these kids, and we love you and we thank you.
So I typically come from the mama angle on most things, and so this is another one of those moments. My first memory of you was when Bobby walked across the stage for Mu Alpha Theta induction, and you greeted every child who crossed that stage like they were yours. A big bear hug, and you could not have been more proud. And a lot of those kids don't get that at home. So if you leave this room today with one thing, know that everything you fed to those kids emotionally and academically has given them a life they would have never had without you. We appreciate it.
You didn't figure out a way to clone her?
Well, we're not done with her yet.
Can't really talk about that.
Okay, we got anything else to cover in this piece?
No, we can kind of take a little break and pat some folks on the back.
Yeah, so this concludes our recognitions and presentation part. So we're going to invite you back for the next part of the meeting, but before that, we're going to take a short 5-minute break. So thank you, guys. Okay, welcome back. Chris, have we got anybody signed up to speak other than the names you gave me here? All right, thank you. All right, we've got several that are signed up to speak tonight, and I want to read kind of the game rules before we get into this, but participants must have turned in a request form 15 minutes prior to the start of this meeting. Participation is limited to 3 minutes. Any complaint or charge brought against any employee by name opposition for which resolution has not been sought in accordance with policy should be pursued through the district's grievance policy. Please note that the Board of Trustees shall not deliberate, respond, or make decisions regarding any subject that is not included on the agenda that is posted. So with that, our first speaker tonight is Mr. Carl White.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It says 1 dead officer shot today, Knoxville, Tennessee. Montgomery County NAACP number 6304 demands action and transparency from Magnolia Independent School District and Montgomery County Constable Department on the hate speech and threat incident that occurred on the afternoon of Sunday, March the 7th, 2021. Racism and threatening messages targeting African Americans, Jewish, LGBT students were sent through Magnolia ISD emails, texts, phone calls, and social media. The cybersecurity breach was briefly investigated by the Montgomery County Constable Department and Magnolia ISD IT Department. They determined the threat was not legitimate, so Magnolia opened as normal Monday morning. In the months since, the incident has been swept under the rug. Parents worried about the safety of their children have not received updates on the investigation. Although Magnolia Independent School District database containing private student information had not been breached, messages were sent to private cell phone numbers and emails. The breach may have exposed private information of all students. All parents should demand action and accountability from Magnolia ISD to prevent future breaches. Further, failure to address the incident affects all students in the district, teaching them that hate speech and threats are acceptable behavior. It is imperative that Magnolia Independent School District and Precinct 5 Constable investigate the incident thoroughly and transparency and hold those who are guilty accountable for their actions. Magnolia ISD should publicly condemn the incident and communicate to all students that this behavior will not be tolerated in Magnolia ISD. Vigilant community members attuned to warning signs from potential shooters were instrumental in thwarting many school attacks between 2006 and 2018, according to a report from the U.S. Secret Service that gives new insight into how attention to concerning behaviors can starve off mass shootings and violence in schools. Montgomery County NAACP, as well as the Texas State NAACP, is documenting this incident and wants to hear from affected families. Contact us at mcnaacp6304@consolidated.net. Thank you.
Thanks for your time tonight. Okay, our next one is Greg Edelman.
Thank you to the board for the opportunity to share some concerns with you this evening. My name is Greg Edelman. I'm the father of two teenage daughters that attend our schools. Amazing daughters, occasionally challenging. They would say the same thing about me, at least the challenging part. Magnolia ISD school faculty and students today face increased health and safety risk as a direct result of the board's March 8th decision to lift the mask mandate. This board has provided no rationale to the public for its safety-sensitive decision to lift the mask mandate. The board has simply acknowledged that it has received and reflected on input. The CDC acknowledges what a member of this board also acknowledged during the March board meeting. That is that the differing effects of the coronavirus on one person versus another are at this time neither well understood nor highly predictable. This includes the effects on children. Despite lower COVID-related death rates for younger people, it would be both premature and irresponsible to conclude that concentrations of children inside a school building are not at significant risk of contracting COVID. New virus variants are appearing, vaccines are less than 100% effective, and they're not yet in the arms of most of the students. Not requiring masks increases the risk that a student contracts COVID while at school, and the unpredictability of the virus's impact means that the student could die or become a long hauler. I'm urging the board to take one of two actions: either publicly and clearly articulate to the community the reasoning for the board's decision to lift the mask mandate, including factors considered and weighed, or if the board is unwilling or unable to articulate its reasoning, and considering that this is a serious health and safety matter, urgently call a special board meeting to vote on a motion to reinstitute the mask mandate until MISD schools adjourn for the summer break, consistent with the board's responsibility to maintain a safe learning environment. I'll finish by stating several facts. Texas Education Code states that school campuses will maintain a safe environment. The 5 school districts bordering MISD continue to mandate masking in their schools, and each has cited continued safety of staff and students as a reason for their decision. The CDC current guidance outlines a COVID-19 operational strategy for schools through use of phased prevention. That current guidance states that the schools providing in-person instruction should continue to require universal use of masks. That guidance is unchanged, ladies and gentlemen. Medical experts agree that the virus spreads almost exclusively by airborne and aerosolized particles. The increased health risks introduced by this board's decision derive from the potential spread of the virus by an unmasked faculty member or an unmasked student. Students obviously represent a very high percentage of the total in-school population. The fact that this board has decided to make mask wearing a personal choice and personal responsibility does not permit the board to abdicate its responsibility to maintain a safe learning environment. Based on the facts, it is reasonable to conclude that either the board has received medical advice that overrides that of the CDC, or that the board's decision was driven by a non-safety related variable that is felt as more important than the CDC's advice. In any case, the board has failed to disclose to the public the basis for the board's decision. Thank you to the board, and I hope you will act swiftly.
Hi, first I'd like to thank you for letting me speak, and I'd like to say congratulations, Travis, on your son at Baylor. You should be very proud. I'd also like to commend all of you for removing the mask from the kids. I think it's barbaric to have these children's face covered all day long, and I commend you on that. With that said, I'd like to say I had my 9th grandbaby yesterday, and it's for her and the 8 others that I have the reason I stand here today. I love my Lord Jesus Christ, I love the U.S., and I love freedom. And I've been fighting the education establishment and the indoctrination in these schools for a number of years. I sit on the executive committee of the Republican Party in Montgomery County. I also sit on the education committee. I passed a resolution in November against social and emotional learning. It passed unanimously. Every school district in the state right now has implemented social and emotional learning, and you do it as well in the IB program. And I found a document on Twitter this week about them joining, I can't remember what it was, Partners in Health, how proud they were that the IB program. We did a great thing in the world today. We joined Partners of Health. Partners of Health's partners are George Soros and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Their sole purpose is promoting social justice. That's all the IB program is about. Theory of knowledge is not an academic course. I've repeated this to y'all numerous times. It is a course to have students question truth in order to change their attitudes, their values, and beliefs. You can see it played out on the news every single day. I came to you at the fall where they're trying to implement critical race theory, where they're talking about the white people being the devil. Somebody's got to stand up. I can stand before my Lord and Savior right now and say, I have done all I can do. It's up to y'all. Y'all are the ones that have to make the decision. Y'all are the ones that are going to have to research. Just this month, we've paid over $27,000 to the IB program, which is part of the UN. And I found a RAND Foundation document, and it's all about research in the IB diploma program. And it says, again, this course overview suggests a form of civic education dedicated to promoting students' participation and concern for social justice. That's what it's about, guys. Please do your homework. Research this, and I'm going to leave with one scripture. Matthew 18:6, and I'm sorry, I get so passionate about it. Anyway, but whoever causes one of these little ones to believe in me, to fall away, it would be better for him to have a heavy millstone hung around his neck and he drowned in the depths of the sea. I have been fighting for kids, and I hate seeing these kids and the Marxist indoctrination on these students. I found it in my church. I had a battle with my own pastor over the Southern Baptist Convention and the Marxist direction they take, and it's in this school district. Please pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Okay, our next speaker is Dr. Griffin Smith.
Hi, I'm Griffin Smith. I've lived in Magnolia for about 6 years. Thank you, trustees, for sharing your thoughts about the face covering mandate last month. The public is eager to hear what your thoughts and perspectives are, and we don't get to hear it very often. It'd be wonderful to hear that more often about critical race theory, about the IB program, about STAR testing, about social and emotional learning. I know you can put it on the agenda even if you don't have a motion planned, just to discuss it for the public. It would be appreciated. Thank you for voting to let teachers and students and staff choose to show their faces in schools here. That you have joined, we have joined 90 ISDs at this point, over 215,000 students, 27,000 teachers and staff that can choose to show their faces at school now. I was asking some of the students I know how it's going, and one of them told me that she doesn't wear a face covering in any of her classes except for one. It's her IB class, because her impression based on how the teacher is behaving is that her grade might be negatively affected if she did not cover her face in class. And I don't know how common that is, but it seems like that's a pretty uncomfortable situation for a student to be in. I was reading, she told me she was pretty surprised about the IB curriculum as well, that she heard it helps prepare you for college, but that it's kind of surprising some of the aspects. I'm familiar with the IP program, with the AP program, Advanced Placement. I took 10 classes of that in Georgia, and it was reading, writing, and arithmetic, and the IB program goes far outside of that, and the social justice and other topics that are mentioned, I think, belong at home, these worldview topics, and not in our schools. The other main topic I wanted to share was that the Carroll ISD board was in the news last week because 2 of their members were accused of violating the Texas Open Meetings Act, specifically of discussing board business in a quorum outside of an authorized meeting, and this was in text messages. So I know you have training on how to be responsible board members. I figure they also had similar training. I don't know what went wrong in their case. I've been learning more about what the requirements are for public boards. And it's kind of surprising to me because in a private business, a lot of times before the meeting, you want to save time later in the meeting. So before the meeting, you talk with your boss, you talk with your team members, and you gather support and build consensus before the meeting. So then in the actual meeting, you just have kind of a nominal discussion, bring it up, and get the meeting over with kind of the conclusion that the decision makers want. But that's not the way it's supposed to work in a public board, right? Because we have government of, by, and for the people, and so we need public deliberation of these topics, even though it's not as efficient, or could be seen that way. So it sounds like what they had was called a serial meeting or a walking quorum, which sometimes occurs through communications of smaller groups. It adds up to be at least a quorum discussing topics that need to be conducted by the board. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. And then our last speaker is Sharon Craig.
I again want to say thank you, concur with what Ginger and a couple of other people said for opening up the schools without the masks. That's very hard for children and for teachers to live through that. So thank you so much. And I'm Sharon Craig, and just had a little thing to say here. I believe that public schools are experiencing an exodus of students since the COVID panic. And I wonder if we're considering what may happen in MISD. The Texas Homeschool Coalition recently reported that there was a 400% increase in the number of parents pulling their students from public schools. Parents are either homeschooling them, placing them in charter schools, homeschool co-ops, or Christian schools. And I'm wondering, are we considering that we may lose rather than gain students next year? As well, the educational gap that has been created, you can read about it, they're talking about it all over, created by the interruption of the COVID panic is real, and children who have been harmed emotionally, physically, and educationally during the masking, schooling from home, due to the pressure, anxieties, and stresses of this last year of interrupted learning, may suffer long-term trauma and distress as well. And this may take a long time for kids to recover from this. It may take years, in fact. This goes for the families as well. And there are people who have left public education for good. And again, I was just wondering, are we anticipating these possibilities might happen here next year? Thank you.
Thanks for your time tonight. Okay, Dr. Todd, I think you're next.
Well, I made sure the board all had a copy of this. It's a letter regarding funding. It's from our board, and it's to our elected officials. And, you know, obviously, there has been a tremendous amount of federal COVID stimulus money that's been directed to public education at the state level. And I just think that there's a real concern among other school boards, and I think within our board, concern of that there's a chance that the state legislature will supplant a lot of this money within their regular budget, and we may not see those dollars coming to us directly as stimulus money for us to have discretionary use of those dollars to help our kids with the learning gaps that were created with the time that we were out during the spring, and even having to adjust to the new normal the first part of this year. And so, and it is a tremendous amount of money. And so there are $17.9 billion that have been allocated to the state of Texas to go to public school districts around the state. And if we were to receive all the stimulus that's just in the third package, that would be $18.4 million for Magnolia ISD. Now, Senator Jane Nelson from Flower Mound, I think on the Senate Finance Committee, commented the other day that, you know, she felt like it was a great idea that the dollars needed to go to the school, but there's just so much money there. The legislature needs to look at that. And I appreciate them being reflective on that and making sure they do their due diligence. But those dollars were directed toward those individual districts. And what I think as a board, a suggestion is that we urge our elected officials, Senator Creighton and Representative Bell, to go ahead and let's trust our public school districts in the state of Texas with these dollars, that we at the local level, with the school board, with parents and trustees that are looking out for the expenditures of those dollars, would make the best use of that funding to make a difference in the lives of our kids, where we see the learning gaps, where we see the issues, where we have already spent dollars out of our operating budgets or fund balances to make some of the ends meet in this prior year. We know where those things are. I believe in our elected public officials in Austin. I believe in TEA, but I also believe that locally elected officials know better how to use those dollars than people in Austin, as they will put together programs and give us a prescriptive use of those dollars. And so that's what this letter basically urges, is that for them to get to trust us, that we have a plan for those dollars. And also included here this is simply a cursory sort of review of where we might actually look at those dollars. There's nothing written in stone in any of that, but I wanted them to realize we can plan for, we can use those dollars. It is not an overwhelming number, even at 17 million, for us to put it to work, particularly if we're given multi-years to roll that out and roll it forward. I'm pretty sure the federal dollars will be able to roll over. And so with a prescriptive plan of where we're going to go, what we're going to try to work it out, we can spend those dollars effectively for our kids and make a difference right here in Magnolia ISD if we get an opportunity to spend them. If they don't get buried in some prescriptive state program that comes to us from Austin. And that's what I worry about. Or even worse, that it just simply gets supplemented into the state budget and the state doesn't, fund its share of public education and use these. There's been a history of that at the state level. And so certainly hoping that would see those dollars come here and that we could see it timely. Because if we don't get some type of direction very soon, I know Dr. Garza and his team are going to have a hard time figuring out exactly how we could use that even this summer or even beginning of the fall. We need to know about it a very timely manner to get started planning for some of those things. So that's what this, and you've had a chance to kind of review that. And so any thoughts or ideas about that? And then we could get that out if it meets with the board's approval.
Are there any comments from anybody on this?
Since it will be a strong suggestion from us at least.
It's almost like, stating the obvious, right? I mean, I think it puts, like you said, puts the dollars in the decisions of the hands of the people that can make them best.
And I know probably how this board reflects on it. I mean, at this point of the game, the dollars are already there. I mean, we could debate, was there a reason for that much money to come to the states or whatever? But at this point, it's already been allocated. Our request is simply, let's move it down to the local level and let us put it to best use for our kiddos in our school district here.
Well, districts themselves know the best way how to
That's
budget
right.
their own funds.
That's what we believe.
Because that's what we do, so. I agree.
All right.
Good letter, good point. Thank you.
Thank you
We'll
for
get
keeping
that
your
out
eye
to
on
them.
that.
And I will make sure I touch base with each one of them and tell them the letter's on the way. And
Good.
so it's not just simply a cold call deal thing.
Good.
Cool. All right.
Good stuff. Thank you, sir. Okay, the next item on our agenda is regarding the announcement of the board's annual credit hours. I'm pleased to announce that in accordance with Chapter 61 of the Texas Administrative Code, that Chuck Adcox, Christy Baker, Joe Duncan, Sonia Ebel, Kelly McDonald, Dr. Travis Moffitt, and I, Gary Blizzard, have met or exceeded all required hours of school board continuing education training from May 11th, 2020 through April 2021. Very good, Chuck. Okay, so moving on to our consent agenda. This portion of the agenda consists of items to be routine and will be enacted by one motion unless separate discussion is requested. So is separate discussion requested? We've read this and know what's in it. Everybody good? All right, so if there aren't any questions, we need a motion that the board approve consent agenda items A through G. Motion by Kelly, seconded by Joe. All in favor? That motion passes. Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Scotty, I believe you're next.
How's everybody this evening?
Good, thank you.
All right. What I have before you tonight is a collection report, and we've actually maybe back on schedule. I've got our spring collection report back in spring. Last year, I think I came in January, so y'all are getting to see all aspects of the collection cycle. Well, we're back to spring, so here we go. And just note while we're going through this, these are delinquent taxes only. You'll notice on the very last slide, let me get there for you, is the turnover chart, and this shows the turnover for 2019. The large blue portion puts this all in perspective. That's what the tax office collected out of the 2019 tax levy. So a whopping 97.68% was collected by the tax office before it got turned over to me. What got turned over to me for 2019 was 2.32%. So the district does not have a delinquent tax problem. But that little percentage that's left over does add up through the years, so it is necessary to have a delinquent firm. I don't want to explain myself out of a job, but I do like to put it all into perspective to show you that this isn't a huge problem for the school district. So, as you know, by law, you can contract with a delinquent tax firm to collect your delinquencies, and we get paid what's called a collection penalty. And by law, when you contract with a law firm to do the collections, that penalty attaches by statute as long as the tax office sends out a 3308 letter. And they do that around this time of year. And come July, those will get turned over to us for collections if people don't pay in the interim time. Sometimes that 3308 letter will get their attention if they read it and understand that they are going to get a 20% add-on to their taxes. So just all of the housekeeping issues out of the way, we'll get to the report. The first chart in your packet is the chart that shows you where we are, the account breakdown chart, and it shows you where everything is in the tax collection process that's been turned over to us for collections. You'll notice the largest section is the action pending section at 33%. So most of these are 2019 delinquencies. That were turned over in July of 2020. So we're currently in the process of reaching out to the taxpayer and getting these into lawsuits. Since we got them in July, we're probably more on the back end of that schedule and getting the title research done, finding out if there are, who all the owners are, making sure we contacted them all, finding out if there's a mortgage on the property, if there's other liens on the property, so we can try to contact those individuals as well to get their attention, because sometimes the lien holder, because they have an interest in the property that they will lose if we have a foreclosure sale, will step up and pay the taxes, and then they'll exercise their right to foreclose as the mortgage holder. So the next largest section is the deferral section at 34%. These are taxpayers that elect to defer payment of taxes on their residence homestead, and by law, they are individuals that are either 65 and older or they have a disability, and so they will go to the appraisal district and file an affidavit of deferral, and if the appraisal district finds that they are indeed entitled to this, and this is their residence homestead, that will be granted on the property. If we have a pending lawsuit, we cannot no longer go forward with the pending lawsuit. They usually get dismissed. Or if we haven't filed a lawsuit, we have to stop collections. They no longer get our love letters from the firm threatening foreclosure. Terms of art. And do note that they can choose to pay during the pendency of the deferral. We just cannot force them through foreclosure, and nor would we want to. The next largest section is the suit litigation section at 20%. This is when the love letters don't work and the phone calls don't get their attention. We file a lawsuit, and more often than not, the constable knocking on the taxpayer's door at 6 or 7 a.m. does get their attention. They usually have me or my legal assistant on the phone by 8:30, and they're figuring out how to take care of the taxes. It's very rare that these things actually get to the courthouse steps for foreclosure. Usually the taxpayer appreciates the severity of the issue when the constable comes knocking on the door, and they get into a payment agreement settled to get the taxes settled. The next largest section is the bad address section. So these are taxpayers that have moved and haven't told the appraisal district, so the tax bills are still going to an old address, And this just as part of our services to the jurisdiction, we research these year around and try to get a better address on the account internally in our system so that we can get the taxpayers' attention and get them notified of the delinquency. The next chart is the dollar range chart. And so this just tells me how to direct my staff, tells me where the dollars are owed. It's not always one account per taxpayer. Sometimes a taxpayer will own multiple accounts, and we'll group them together, and I will call it an account, but it may be that Bob has 10 accounts, but my system works smart or helps me to work smart and puts them all together so I can collect Bob's 10 accounts with one phone call rather than calling Bob 10 different times. So this is just another collection tool for me, helping me to direct my staff. And just note that the majority of the accounts in the 10,000 and up do have a deferred status. So I currently can't do much about that. However, it does not remain on the account forever, and the taxpayer can pay any time they choose to do so. Our next chart is the tax year chart. So you'll notice the largest section of delinquencies, the 2019, and from 2019 they all dwindle and trend down. 2011 and prior, all very minuscule percentages due for each of those years. We just lump them all together just so that we can read the chart. And then I have my historical collection data on the next 6 graphs, and you'll see the trend through the years that as time goes on, the collection percentage increases. And for 18, we're almost to 80% collected for the 2018 tax year. And for 19, we're about 55.4, so we're getting close to that 60 mark, which is a good place to be for this time of year. We'll get the 2021 taxes, the 2020 taxes, I'm stepping a year ahead. Let's not do that. In July of this year, we just got the personal property turnover, so we'll be working on the personal property tax rolls. Those were turned over on April 1, and we'll get the real property, the land, on July 1. So we'll be making our calls and sending out the love letters at that time, all anew. Are there any questions about the report? Fantastic.
I know we mentioned, I think last time you were here, we talked about COVID and the fact that it has affected some families. I know you guys, there is a payment option, right? Isn't there a way for people,
Yes.
if they've gone delinquent, they don't have to come up with all the money at once?
Absolutely. To be specific, on your residence homestead, if you request a payment agreement and you request it timely, you can avoid that collection penalty on your residence homestead. And by law, you have to be offered at least 12 months, 12 monthly equal installments. If this is your residence homestead and you haven't had a payment agreement in the past 24 months, to keep people from just doing it year after year. They can get that on their residence homestead. If they do it before the collection penalty attaches, they avoid the collection penalty, and they get to pay it in 12 equal monthly installments. And that if they set that up before a lawsuit is filed too, they also avoid a lawsuit.
Okay.
So, and that's available for residence homestead. It's 12 months, cannot exceed 36 months. But a lot of if we file a suit or if we contact a taxpayer, more often than not, if we can't offer them the 12 months, if it's not the residence homestead, we typically offer them some other alternative in the way of an informal agreement and let them have equal monthly installments from 6 to 12 months typically. Perfect. So yes, we bend over backwards to work with the taxpayer and consider issues that are current like COVID that are hurting the economy, and at the end of the day, we want people to keep their property and pay the taxes.
Sure.
Right.
And the other, and I know you kind of said this, but I just want to make sure everybody understands that your fee is not at all paid by our school district. Your fee is
100% paid by the taxpayer.
By whoever's delinquent.
Absolutely, right. They get that warning letter, that 3308 letter, around this time of year, and then if they're still due in July, that fee attaches on magical July 1, depending on whether it falls on a weekend or a holiday, and then that fee attaches. That is 100% paid by the taxpayer at no cost at all to the school.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Well, I certainly appreciate your time And I'm very happy that you're always very receptive to having me come give my report. It's not the most exciting, but I do appreciate your time, and we do love representing the school, and hope I can see some of y'all at the golf tournament.
We're looking forward to getting you back on a regular.
There you go. Hopefully I'll be back in the fall.
Keep us updated.
There you go. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great evening.
Thanks for coming back to see us.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Okay, obviously no motion for that. That was a review, so I think that's it,
Come to that bewitching hour.
I think, unless you say otherwise.
I'll work for you all.
All righty. So now the board's going to recess to move in a closed executive session for the purposes permitted by pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with attorney, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.072, discussion of purchase, sale, exchange, or value of real property, and finally, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel discussion and recommendations. So thank you for your time. All right, we're back. I need a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Motion by Christie, seconded by Chuck, Joe. All those in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.